Well, the Veep Stakes is officially over. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris announced Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will be her running mate. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Shay McAllister.
And I'm Doug Proffitt. It's been a long 2 weeks. The choice made at rapid speed. In the 2 weeks since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race, praised by a cross-section of the Democratic Party, from moderates to progressives. Tim Walz, also known for his plain-spoken campaign style, recently labeling the former President Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance as, quote, weird. The Harris campaign expected to use Walz to appeal to Rust Belt voters in must-win states like Michigan and Wisconsin.
And these guys are weird on how they frame it.
Dangerously liberal, while his VP pick, J.D. Vance, held his own campaign event in Philadelphia, reacting to the new opponent.
But I think that what Tim Walz's selection says is that Kamala Harris has bent the knee to the far left of her party.
Well, the Harris campaign expected to use Walz again for those Rust Belt voters in states like Michigan and Wisconsin, hoping to win those states. After the Philadelphia rally, Harris and Walz will blitz six more battleground states in 5 days, including those with J.D. Vance holding his own there.
So here's a little bit more about the Minnesota governor. Tim Walz is a former high school social studies teacher and state championship winning high school football coach. He's a 24-year veteran of the Army National Guard. After retiring from the Army National Guard in 2005, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives and was re-elected 5 times. In 2018, he was elected governor of Minnesota. He was re-elected in 2022.
Now to our Kentucky connection. You know, one person who attends many events with Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg. Just yesterday, in fact, was with him on a stage here in Louisville. Today, the mayor was asked about the decision to go with Governor Walz.
I will continue to support Vice President Harris and Governor Walz as the ticket. And I'm excited to be headed to Chicago later this month to be a delegate to the Democratic National Convention. I've already casted my vote virtually for Vice President Harris, and I will continue to be supportive there in Chicago and beyond through the election.
The mayor said he's proud Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear's name was in the mix at all. He said making the short list of candidates is a reflection of the good work he's done here in the Bluegrass State.
And late this afternoon, WHAS11 was part of just a small group of reporters who caught Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear in Frankfort, telling us what he thinks about the pick and what it all means for his future on the national stage.
Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton were part of that conversation outside the governor's office. And Isaiah, it was a short interview, but is he let down at all after this intense 2 weeks in the national spotlight?
Well, Doug, Shea, intense is right. These past couple weeks have been high speed. They have been nonstop. Based on my experience from covering the governor, he likely would not have even considered this kind of experience unless he believed he at least had a shot. Ultimately, the vice president going with one of Andy Beshear, Governor Beshear's good friends, but I still had to ask him this question. Are you disappointed you didn't get the position?
Oh, my family is happy. Frankfort has wrapped their arms around us. But they're both in high school, and Brittany and I are in a good spot in life. I've got a dream job. I'm governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I'm all good. This is going to help me make sure that we keep our promises to Eastern and Western Kentucky. While it's an honor to go through the process, oh no. Being governor of Kentucky is more than enough for me.
Andy Beshear's in-person reaction to Vice President Kamala Harris opting to choose someone else as her running mate.
This was a true honor of a lifetime to be considered in this process. But Tim Walz is a good pick. He is a great friend. He'd be an amazing vice president. I am 100% on board with doing everything I can.
Following 2 weeks of speculation, out-of-state travel, and public tryouts, Beshear's title for now returns solely to Kentucky governor. Governor, when did you speak with the vice president for an interview over the weekend?
Well, I'm not going to go through the process. That's one that they've asked to keep confidential, and I'm going to honor that request.
Bashir and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the now Democratic vice presidential nominee, do indeed have a close relationship. As evidenced in these photos taken by WHAS11, Walz was there in Frankfort in person for Bashir's second-term inauguration last December, sitting just one row up from Bashir's parents and kids.
He helped me get elected to this seat, re-elected last year.
Meantime, I also got reaction from Republican Kentucky Senator Damon Thayer, a longtime critic of Bashir's.
And I never thought he was really seriously in the running. I thought he was named because the Democrats have a pretty thin bench. And, you know, he's a liberal governor in a red state. And, you know, as cute as that may be for the National Democrats, ultimately I predicted, you know, that she would choose somebody from a state where she needed help.
The question now quickly turns to Bashir's future, as speculation over a potential cabinet position likely comes next. U.S. Attorney General, are you qualified? He was interrupted there as he was maybe not answering that question. Now, coming up later here tonight, I also talked over Zoom with Louisville Congressman Morgan McGarvey. I asked for his thoughts on what Bashir's future could hold. Potentially, of course, we're all raising the question, a cabinet position if Harris were elected. We'll have his thoughts coming up right here at 6 o'clock. Doug Shea.
All right, very good. We'll look for that. Well, we just got to hold on to this heat, extreme heat, for just a little bit longer. Then we're going to have some weather that's going to make us maybe think about late September.
Oh, I can't wait for the weekend, Ben. But first, we just have to get through this, which is pretty typical summer weather still. Pretty hot out there.
Yeah, that's the big teaser, is waiting on the weekend. Once again, as we're going to have some big relief, not only in much cooler temperatures, but much lower humidity and a fall-like feel. Looks like it's a pretty good bet for Saturday and Sunday. But for now, getting through another hot one out there. 93 feels like 97. Bright blue sky, not seeing any clouds out there as we look live here at our First Savings Bank cam, part of our U of L Health Camera Network. The heat index numbers near 100 in many locations. 101 in Shepherdsville, Springfield, Scottsburg, and Lanesville, all checking in at 100. So we're just south of a front that'll bring our temperatures down to the 80s tomorrow. The severe weather threat staying off to our northeast over northern Ohio. As this front does drop into southern Indiana, there will be a chance for a leftover shower, maybe a few rumbles of thunder, but severe weather not expected with this. And so we're dry through sunset. And then notice after sunset, 10, 11 o'clock, starting to see that rain chance bump up to around Scottsburg, Madison, maybe even Carrollton. But it looks like that'll fall apart, fizzle out as it tries to approach Metro Louisville even later in the nighttime as it runs into more stable air over us. So some clouds to get started tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon in the 80s instead of the 90s, with just a 20% chance of a pop-up shower, as most areas will stay dry as this front moves on through. So shower chance north later tonight, low 73. We'll go upper 70s at noon tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy with that 20% chance of a shower and a high up to 86 degrees. We'll get a little hotter for a brief period of time Thursday for JCPS as they head back to school. But then again, we've got the weekend cool off coming up, and the latest on Tropical Storm Debbie just ahead in our Weather Impact Team Forecast.
Very good. Thank you, Ben. Right here, new tonight, new tonight, the ongoing case of the former Clark County, Indiana Sheriff Jamie Null is now putting family members against each other.
The lawyer for his daughter, Casey Null, today accused her father, Jamie Null, of abuse and manipulation. It came out of a Clark County courtroom. Misty Null also joined her daughter in court, asking to join their cases. Ian Hardwick and photojournalist Jessica Farley report from the courtroom where the mother and daughter locked hands.
After Misty Null filed for divorce against Jamie Null, their daughter, Casey Null, is now also trying to distance herself from her father in the courtroom.
Away from Jamie's physical presence and his physical control, a much clearer picture of the control and the manipulation and the relationship that he had with his immediate family has emerged.
Casey's defense lawyer, Sonny Bush Sattel, said the abuse became clear in June after Jamie Null went back behind bars for violating his bond. She believes the calls Jamie has made in jail will reveal more about the type of relationship the father and daughter had. Casey and Misty Null also requested their bond be relaxed so they could travel across the river to Louisville. Indiana State Prosecutor Rick Hurdle thought it was unwise and reinforced how bond was meant to be restrictive. He's unsure if more criminal charges can be brought against Misty and Casey, but he's looking into it.
There are enough layers here that there are things that have been hidden by the defendants that the state has not uncovered at this point in time, and there may be still some uncovering at this point in time.
Hand in hand, the mother and daughter hoped for a formal joining of their cases so they could be tried as one. Judge Larry Medlock pushed off ruling on their request. Although the charges the Null women face for theft and tax evasion are similar, Misty's requires double the amount of jurors as Casey's.
Not sure it's allowed, but we'll find out. I'll consider it.
Those considerations will wrap up next Tuesday on a phone conference when the judge is expected to make a decision on the bond restrictions and joining the cases. In Clark County, Ian Hardwick, WHAS 11, on your side.
If the judge rules in favor of combining the mother and daughter's cases, that would push Casey's court date back to October. Her first trial on her own is set for August the 20th.
Right here tonight, student enrollment is up for a few West Louisville JCPS schools. And while that's good news, another important area is not seeing the necessary numbers they need for faculty and staff.
Gabriel Gonzalez took these concerns to JCPS today to find out if your student will be affected and if you should be worried.
Kids are excited to be there. They've chosen that school and they've chosen it for a reason.
Interim Chief of HR for JCPS, Cynthia Groman, is saying growing enrollment is a good problem for 2 West Louisville schools.
These are all very normal problems to have, especially at the beginning of a school year.
According to their website, JCPS is currently looking to fill an array of different positions, including 98 positions for K-12 teaching. Other jobs include substitutes, housekeeping, and security. But Cynthia says it isn't what it seems.
The number of those postings do not necessarily reflect the number of actual vacancies for a variety of reasons, but yes, they do show areas of need in the district.
JCPS says the high enrollment is due to the new student assignment plan that started last year. The downside to more students filling the hallways, needing more teachers in an already struggling market. JCPS is bringing in some help.
Teachers are trained in different areas, different subject matters, but they are certified teachers who are able to give a high level of support to any school that uses them.
Now, the Academy at Shawnee will also see a brand new principal this year. This is the most important back-to-school start day in many decades here in Louisville after last year's major issues. WHAS 11 News will have coverage from the start of the day right to the last drop-off.
Taking a closer look, JCPS Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio explained how the school district is trying to entice new staff. This came at last week's JCPS task force meeting. One strategy recently rolled out by the district was an $8,000 stipend for teachers at schools with higher needs.
So we did have a good number who jumped at that opportunity from the beginning. It is still a challenge. I'm not going to say that it's not still a challenge in our highest need schools to bring in staff because it is a tougher job.
Special talent.
The money is in addition to the normal pay for teachers, which starts at $48,000 and goes up to $94,000 for a teacher who's worked in the district at least 25 years. He says it's been an issue the district has dealt with since the pandemic. And we would love to see your back to school photos. As soon as you snap that picture, text it to us, 502-582-7290. We just need the name of your student and the name of their school, and we'll share it right here on WHAS 11.